Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The single best idea, which is to avoid this historic storm. Rob Carolyn was fabulous today. He made very clear that the elements of the storm, the foundations of the storm, are all the way across the nation to Catalina Island in Los Angeles. I was stunned by that, but that's why, he's so famous, is the linkages here of how you get a polar vortex or how the winds affect Abilene, Texas, and on and on. We thank Rob Carolyn for terrific coverage. We'll do much more here in the coming days as this storm evolves over 6, 7, 8 days. And then even after that, some historic cold as well. Rebecca Patterson showed up with the Council on Foreign Relations. Her recent essay in the Financial Times, the senior fellow from CFR, Rebecca Patterson, on the dollar at this moment.
I think the important thing about the dollar is time frame and degree. A lot of the media coverage this week with the threats of possible military intervention to acquire Greenland against its will, and then the backing off it. You saw some market reaction, but it was really just a one-day sell America. And everyone's saying, well, gosh, no one sold treasuries. Everything's fine. It's all hype. I'm like, no, it's not. It's time frame. What we're seeing is a slow erosion of confidence in dollar-based assets. This is something that will play out over years, not a day or a week or a month, but it's happening.
Just brilliant. And I want to frame there, is Rebecca Patterson correctly said, a lot of the reporting was treasuries didn't do much, and the answer is they did. The question is where in the curve. Short-term market was very stable. That's huge Fed influence, the economic data that Michael McKee's so good at. But farther out, there was some movement in the 30-year bond. Some people would say that used to be the benchmark, 30-year bond. Yield up, price down, began to approach 5%. Now it's turned around from that to a 4.86, I'm guessing, right now. But out in the curve, even, Japan, that's true, but even in the U.S., out in the curve, you can watch there as almost a litmus paper of what the bond vigilantes are thinking about. Rebecca Patterson is thinking about tariffs. Martha Gimbel, just phenomenal at the Budget Lab at Yale. Lots of good work on tariffs recently. What would be the shock from the Supreme Court, the outcome for your favorite tariff?
I always look at the intersection of geopolitics, the economy, and financial markets because they all influence each other. One of the things I'm looking at now ahead of the Supreme Court decision about U.S. tariffs is if we reduce the tariffs, take them off, shift them around, how does that translate into the affordability narrative in the United States? If tariffs are removed, do we actually see any price change that benefits U.S. consumers? How does that play out in the midterm election? So again, it's looking at all these connections.
Rebecca Patterson, I really want to say some of the so-called think tanks that I lean on every day. I mean, all of us are reading them voraciously here at Bloomberg, but I really want to do a shout out. Adam Posen and the Peterson Institute, just on fire recently. David Wessel writing up a storm at the Brookings Institute as well. And Rebecca Patterson providing leadership at the Council on Foreign Relations. Mr. Froman and company have just done an outstanding job staggering from story to story in our international relations. And again, look to Bloomberg Opinion, Lionel Laurent. I'll get that out on Twitter and LinkedIn. Lionel Laurent, particularly good off the Paris desk today on all that's going on in Davos. On podcasts on Apple, on Spotify, and on YouTube podcasts, it's Single Best Idea.